Boom. There we are. Here we are. What's going on, dude?
What is happening? I was just complaining to you about how hard it was to run up the stairs. It's ridiculous. It shouldn't be. It shouldn't be that bad. What's going on, man? What's
We're
going on with you?
allowed to complain. We're old Marines. We're allowed to complain. No, this
Yes,
is
we.
this is cool. Thanks for taking some time to have a quick mini live stream, man. This is good. This is really good.
Yeah, I'm excited. I mean, you called me. Well, first of all, you texted me this weekend. For those of you who don't know the way that Brett operates, Brett is, you know, he's texting, calling, and simultaneously, across various platforms all at one time. He's almost omnipresent. It's funny how he works. But you texted me this weekend. You're like, hey, got an idea, sent an email, and then called me afterwards. And I'm like, crap, I haven't even had a chance to check the
I
email
called you
yet,
on
man. What's
Monday.
going
I
on?
let the weekend go. So I
Yeah.
do try to respect weekends family time, but I did reach out
It is what
yesterday.
it is.
So
It's all good. It's all good. It's a good thing. It's not bad.
yeah,
Not
so
bad
let's
at
talk
all.
about what's going on. Everyone's like, why the heck are these guys on right now? And one guy's got good beard game, one guy's got crazy mustache game. So just quickly, who are we? Number one, why are we here right now? So I'm Brett Henderson. I'm a prior Marine Corps officer. I am the founder of a wealth management firm, Strategic Wealth Endeavor. Our mission is to position you to accomplish yours. And so our altruistic mission is to help veterans of PTSD get the help they need so they do not commit suicide. So they don't shoot themselves, period. And Steven is part of my team. You are an amazing part of my enabling me to hear and to do more. And so hence I have ideas. The problem with empowerment, when you give a driver empowerment and ideas and creativity, is that they act upon them. And so that's the frustrating part in dealing with me as I have ideas. Oh no, now I actually have a platform to do something about it. Hence this. Here we are, brother. So who are you, Steve, and what do you do? Let's have you say hello.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, I appreciate the opportunity, man. I like working with people who think the way that you do, and we're not all that dissimilar. We're cut from a lot of the same cloth, to be honest with you. So, I'm Steven. I do a lot of things with my time. I don't do one thing in particular better than the other. I do a lot of things well. I run a production agency. Actually, was born out of a frustration leading and managing a sales team down in the Austin area, and got frustrated with the way that things were running. And I started a podcast talking about the mistakes that that a lot of us um, that we make that really kind of lead the way to the success that we have, whether it be in our professional relationships, personal relationships, or career accomplishments. And that methodology led to discussions with other folks who felt compelled to share what they've screwed up or what they've messed up, and how the result of that mess up or screw up led them to the success that they have in the businesses that they ran, or in the company that they worked for, or in the personal relationships that they had. And so we started producing podcasts for companies in 2019. And I've been podcasting since 2017. Still have a podcast that we put out as much as we possibly can. It used to be a weekly show. Now it's quarterly, it seems like. Yeah, it's called Knucklehead Podcast. Knucklehead Media Group got an opportunity to produce podcasts. Essentially, we call it Bringing Dead Leads to Life through podcasting. And we work with Brett on the Veteran Entrepreneur Masterclass podcast. And there's a number of other veteran entrepreneurs and business owners. I'm sorry, the veterans who work within businesses, who have something to say. They have something to share. They are the subject matter experts in leadership. And so when they hear about a cause that Brett's, going to talk about on Saturday, in addition to well, I don't want to steal the thunder from what he's, going live here for, but there's some cool synergies, with nonprofits and things that people, believe in from a philanthropic standpoint, that are an extension of what we do for business every day, or what we do in our work every single day. I still sell full time, so I'm constantly, selling, or at least trying to filter out what's an opportunity and what's not. And,
We all are.
and so it's really good um, to get people who are, involved in the nonprofit space. Granted, there's over 40,000, veteran nonprofits that are out there. So you got to make sure that you do your homework on which ones are actually delivering impact, and going out there and kicking tail, and taking names, and actually providing some good services, not just to the veterans, but also to the the people who are running those organizations. And so we got to watch each other's back. And so I don't want to steal a whole lot of thunder for what Brett's, going live for today, but
Yeah.
I think he's going to announce something that's going to be pretty cool that's happening this weekend.
Perfect. And thank you, Stephen. I appreciate all your kind words and support from day one since we connected. And how do we meet? LinkedIn just shows the power of that platform. So LinkedIn doesn't pay me. I wish LinkedIn paid me, right? Because everyone I meet's from LinkedIn, so the platform works. But as you shared, myself being a veteran entrepreneur, I started my own firm. June will be 5 years, which I can't believe. Time does fly. I wouldn't say you're always having fun, but time definitely flies, right? And I will share that as a quote unquote fledgling entrepreneur going from W-2 employee of big firms for 15 years before starting my own. I had no idea what the heck I was doing when I started. And there was no blueprint. There was no board. There was no path, there was no guidance, there was no help. And so I realized just through my network, professional network that I had built over 15 years working for other companies, when I went independent, okay, I need a computer, literally something like that. So go to Best Buy and get a couple laptops and get a printer and then get their Geek Squad tech support. That my tech support's Geek Squad. And then, okay, you need a phone system, you need an accounting system, you need a record keeping system, you need a CPA. And so then QuickBook, then so all the things you need to set up and run. Then you need to create your business. So do you have a business attorney create it, or do you go to something like eMinutes and all these things I had to go through just to survive, right? Just to start. And there's no way better to learn than just doing it. And you're going to screw it up. You're going to make mistakes. You're going to learn the hard way, but you learn and you get better and you get more efficient. And 5 years later, here we are, right? So the idea of the podcast came about, the Veteran Entrepreneur Masterclass podcast came about was my way. If anyone gets to know me, I am chatty. I like to teach. I love to educate. I love to help and I love to give back. And it's rewarding for me to see someone go from A to B, and they were down here and now they're up here after interaction with me. If I can help someone get A to B faster or just do better or have a purpose or find a mission or have a goal where they didn't before, when they have clarity and purpose, that's personally rewarding for me. So it literally makes me feel good. It's almost like a drug for me to help people. And so with that, this is where we're going with the announcement, where we're going this weekend, what we're going to do Saturday, which I think is huge. And I wish I did send a link to Hiram. If Hiram jumps in, we'll definitely welcome him. Hiram Figueroa, if anyone's listening, knows him from LinkedIn, is amazing. He has 140,000+ followers. He's a Marine, with a former drill instructor on the drill field, and just an amazing dude. He had a post he did with, oh God, come on, brain, hold on. Come on. The
I
ugly,
don't know.
the
If
good,
you're
the
looking
bad,
at
and the
me, I
ugly.
can't
No,
help
hold
you
on.
there. I
Clint
can't help
Eastwood. Clint Eastwood. I can't
There you
believe
go.
that I blanked right there. I
Yeah,
need more
just
pre-workout,
Clint
right?
Eastwood,
Right,
just
Clint Eastwood.
yeah.
So he did a post with Clint Eastwood. Go figure. It's 5 million likes, shares, follow, all this stuff. So Hiram is guru. And I said, well, what? Now that we have this platform, which is called StreamYard, what about really bringing this podcast and what we're doing and how we're supporting veterans to another level? How do we really get the word out there? How do we take advantage of this? Because normally, historically, before you had social media with all the different technologies now, especially in my world, which is financial services, we're so compliance heavy because of regulations from the Securities Exchange Commission and FINRA. Everything we do is highly, highly regulated. I can't provide any investment background or information, or you just get crushed if you do. And I don't want to lose my licenses. So I just choose really not to talk about investments. However, with this platform now, we can get a message out to not hundreds, not thousands, but literally tens of thousands of people all at the same time. And that's truly amazing. So the business hat, what pays the bills, is my wealth management firm, which helps veteran entrepreneurs. But that's not what it's all about. The podcast takes my experiences and those from other veterans who have also failed more often than they like to admit, but they humbly admit their failures and their lessons from that. And we take my failures, Stephen, your failures, all the other veterans' failures, and all the nuances from those failures that ultimately led to success. And that's the podcast. That's a Veteran Entrepreneur Masterclass podcast. And so as a result of that, as the podcast grows, obviously in business, there's time and there's money and there's cash flow. And I'll just humbly share, the podcast is mine and it costs money, right? So that being said, how can we help? How can we give back to the vet community? It's just a business thing, quote unquote, for my firm. Well, 5 years ago, I lost my best friend, Lieutenant Colonel Adam Collier, to suicide. 5 years ago, March 10th. So we just lost him 5 years ago. And I feel, and this is just my feeling, no one will ever know, that if he had a service dog, someone to focus on, have a purpose, have a passion for, he potentially could still be here today. No one will ever know, but that's how I feel knowing him. And so that being said, I looked for something to find my own purpose after losing my best friend of how I could reengage and help in the community. And I reached out and looked for and found the Battle Buddy Foundation, the Battle Buddy Foundation. And Kenny Bass, one of the founders, and he's been on my podcast. He's episode 2, and or sorry, Kenny's episodes are episodes 3 and 4, episodes 3 and 4 on the podcast. And Kenny Bass, the founder of the Battle Buddy Foundation, he was blown up in an IED attack in Iraq in 2003. Came back, the VA numbed him up, drugged him up, went from 1 or 2 different drugs to 33 a day, and which is a numb zombie. He's like, this isn't going to work. I'm going to be a statistic. And he's like, I never felt more like shooting myself than I did when I was being helped by the VA with 33 drugs a day. I was just numb. So long story short, he found a path and obtained a service dog, got a prescription, found a service dog, and that service dog saved his life. That service dog saved his life. And I feel if he or if my friend, being Adam Collier, Lieutenant Colonel Adam Collier, would have had a service dog, that service dog could have potentially saved his life. So that's become a moment of clarity. So for us as veterans, when you're in the military, I was Brett the Marine, Stephen the Marine. When you get out, you are now a Marine. There's a difference. You're always a Marine, but you're not the Marine. And I think for a lot of us getting out, especially the Marine Corps, because it's so much of who you are, finding your own identity, your own purpose, your next mission, your personal mission versus the Marine Corps mission is huge. And a lot of veterans struggle with that, and they have a hard time finding that purpose. So what are we doing? What are we talking about? What are we announcing? So before I go there with what's going to happen Saturday, Stephen, what are you thinking about right now as I'm sharing those thoughts?
Yeah, so I think it's hard to put into words for somebody who doesn't have a high value, that they don't place a high value on the experience because they haven't experienced it. Meaning, they don't have a personal relationship of somebody who's going through something difficult. And we in today's, I think, what we call on Knucklehead Podcast is kind of living your life through a world of filters. It's primarily through social media engagements that people kind of live their life. They live vicariously through following on social media, so they don't have those personal relationships. If you think about kind of like your most euphoric moment, it's most likely that you weren't alone. And if you think about your most isolated or lonely feeling out there, it's most likely that you were alone. And so I think that quantifies the importance of people, as we go throughout our life. So it's difficult to really put into context for somebody who hasn't lost somebody who shares that, those personal relationships with, for them to understand what the impact is of, after somebody's gone, what does that do? And so that's what I was just thinking about. I have a good buddy he's retired sergeant major. His name's Mario Williams. He was my first sergeant when I deployed to Iraq. And, he's got some really great things that he's doing out there in North Carolina. And, he went through just a life-threatening illness just this past year, and he was almost gone. And, those relationships, they mean something. We went through battle and combat together. We went through, we went through a deployment together. Right? I don't want to get into the comparison game because there's a lot of folks who've done a lot more worse stuff than I have from a combat experience standpoint. Yeah, for sure. But he's just a solid dude. And just to know that, that you share that experience with him, and it's potentially, that he's not there anymore. Like what that would do to Nicole, his wife, and his kids not being around. It's just, it leaves a huge void. And so that's why I take these things that people do from a nonprofit standpoint that aren't being above board, or they're not taking it seriously, or they're not, being responsible with the way that they're doing accounting, or whatever the case may be. That's not the right way to do that type of business. And so it's important for people to keep in perspective. These are people's lives. Money and attention goes a long way whenever you're going supporting causes like this. And so it's, it also goes a long way to know that there's other guys out there, like guys and gals that are, like Brett and I, that are, we're just trying to do our level best to help also support the causes that need the help. So that's what I'm thinking about.
No, I appreciate that. And just like you said, you hear it's almost trendy right now. Before the 22 a day, 22 push-ups a day, everyone's videoing. Like, what does videoing yourself doing 22 push-ups really do? Does nothing. Pouring a bucket of ice on your head, whatever that challenge, what the hell does that do? Nothing. It makes it's not action. And for me, where this is the purpose of this live stream right now, to share what we're doing on Saturday, which I think is huge, which hopefully you can all join. Number one, it's not going to cost you money. Actually, it would be helping you spend my money to help a good cause. And with Kenny and the Battle Buddy Foundation, they train and raise service dogs. And just so everybody knows, if you don't know, it takes about 2 years to train a dog the right way. You don't have to go to the pound, just picking a random dog. It takes 2 years to really train that dog. And then you have to find the veteran that matches with that dog. Just like any relationship, not everyone's the best match, and it isn't just one size fits all. So think about the time and energy it takes to train a dog for 2 years. It costs money. So it's about $30,000 a year. Before inflation went crazy a couple of years ago. So it's actually about 60 grand to train one service dog to help one veteran the right way. The right way. There are other organizations that just crank them out and it's a business for them. But to take your time, this is not a volume play. This is not a scalable business. This is one dog at a time, one veteran at a time, and it takes time and money. So what we're discussing, or what we're here to talk about, what we're going to be doing Saturday, is a live stream just like this. Kenny's going to be on it. All the guests that have been on the podcast with me, including you, Stephen, are welcome to join at the same time. So we've got over, I think, 27, 28 episodes out right now. And so I don't know. I got to figure out the admin text part with everyone kind of saying they're going to join in, join out. I have no idea. But with that, what I want to share with everyone's going to be pretty cool. I'm going to go to the bank. I'm going to have a bunch of cash in my hand, a bunch of cash, my own money. And so for every new subscriber to the podcast that says, hey, I'm going to check this out, all you have to do is subscribe. We can track the metrics. We can see. Actually, you can. Steve, this is your world. You're my podcast producer. So if you need a podcast producer, talk to Steve. He's the guy right there. So Steve can actually track the metrics there. So what we're going to do is make a big donation. Well, I'll call myself out. It's a big donation for me because it's my own personal money to the Battle Buddy Foundation based upon subscribers only. And we're going to set a number, right? We're going to set a certain number. So Kenny, for him to get that donation of my personal money, so it's my donation from my company to his foundation, we're looking for a certain number of subscribers to the podcast. And if you're not sure what channel, we're going to be live on YouTube. So we're doing a YouTube launch party Saturdays. That's what we're really here. We're excited to share with you about that. And so as we get subscribers, once we get a certain number, we're going to share that number on Saturday. Once we get that number of subscribers, I want to take that cash in my hand and go, Kenny, boom, this is yours. Right. And I can't do that unless you and or other listeners or podcast consumers, so to speak, subscribe. But I don't want anyone to subscribe for doing that. I want them to see value in the material. And so a little background just on the podcast itself. Again, the Veteran Entrepreneur Masterclass. I guess I'll put my website there and you can find it on the
put it on. Yeah, you can do that. Or most people listen to podcasts on Apple Podcasts. Now, we don't discriminate. If you want to listen on Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts, you can go directly to the website that Brett's
so
directing you to.
Right there. Yeah,
there you go.
And it goes right to Apple.
Perfect.
You go to Apple there in the middle of the page. It says subscribe now, or here's the podcast. Click a button. It goes right to Apple. So you can go to Apple Podcasts or whatever platform. Amazon. I'm a Google guy. I'm an Android guy. Call me old fashioned. I use the BlackBerry with buttons, the Crackberry. Actually, I still have a few in my drawer. My live tech is freezing a little bit there. Yeah, but that's what we're going to do. And so we want to keep this short, sweet, simple. Let everybody know Saturday's going to be a good day. It's going to be 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 Eastern, or is that 4 Central?
There you go.
Yep. 3 Mountain. Did I hit that all in some random order there?
Very well done. Yeah.
Thank you. I can figure out time zones. That it is amazing. So that's what we're doing. I hope everyone can make it. This was just a quick little impromptu live stream, kind of checking our tech too. Thanks so much for coming, and we'll hopefully see you guys Saturday. Saturday. Steve, what do you think? What do you think?
I think it'll be fun. I think it's gonna be fun. I mean, it's gonna be a great time, man. There's subscribers helping a cause. It's fun too. So it also gives you an opportunity to engage with people who've been on the show. So it's a good pod, and give some feedback too. You can leave some reviews. Obviously, in this particular live stream, you can engage in the comments. Brett likes that stuff. He likes people talking back at him, whether he admits it or not.
It's true. It's true. How do you improve without feedback? Right. I'm 47. I used to have a 4 head. Now I have a 5 head. Actually approaching a 6 head now. It keeps going back. But with age comes wisdom, right? So give us feedback. Tell me, hey, Brett, you should have this guest on. This episode sucked, and this is why. Fine. Okay. Well, I was not born a podcaster. I'm figuring this out as I go. So give me feedback so I can improve, because I'm still failing and I'm still willing to grow and learn. So just like you, this is I'm Brett Henderson. Our firm is Strategic Wealth Endeavor. And you are on your own wealth endeavor. If we can bring a little strategy to it, it should be awesome. Look forward to see you guys Saturday. Help us raise some money for a great cause. Help veterans not effing shoot themselves. It's a great cause. See you guys Saturday. Thanks so much for being here. Out.